Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to Life from the Wrist. Hope you guys are doing well today. It is that time of the year. It's one of my favorite times. It's auction season, and we're going to be kicking off auction season by talking about the Phillips Geneva Watch Auction that is taking place on the 8th and 9th of May. That's a couple weeks away, or maybe a week away when this video is released. We're going to be talking about some of my favorite lots from this auction. I think this is a fairly unique auction, especially being that it's sort of it's an auction that's taking place post, if you want to call it that, post-pandemic, or when the world is starting to get more vaccinated. And I think this is going to have a huge insight for a lot of people who are into vintage watches or watch collecting in general, about where the state of the watch industry really is. Obviously, when you have recessions or pandemics like this, it definitely does hit the economy. But I'm curious to see what results are actually going to happen in this watch auction, and also to look at some perhaps niches within vintage watch collecting that are to kind of get a sense of the pulse of where a realistic price range for that type of watch is. So I'm going to be going over 11 lots. I couldn't narrow it down to 10, so I have 11 lots that I'm going to be going through. I should say, I did say vintage watches. This watch auction actually encompasses both modern and vintage watches, and there's so much great variety, so I really encourage you to take a look at the website, at the Geneva Watch Auction website, so you can see these. If you take a look at our article, we'll have links to all of the lots as well as the Geneva Watch Auction, so you can check it out there. And so I'm going to go over the 11 lots during this video, give you my thoughts, and show you some pictures of these watches. I'll also give you an idea of what I think the item is going to fetch. So we'll start off with lot number 21. As you know, I am more of a vintage watch lover than modern, but I love modern watches as well. But I'll start off with a vintage watch. Vintage watch. It's from 1997. It's probably not considered vintage yet, but it's lot number 21. It is a Cartier tank jumping hours watch. This was a platinum limited edition jumping hours watch that was in commemoration of the 150th anniversary of Cartier. Like I said, it was produced in 1997, and I think there was only 150 of these tank embauché watches produced. They were first released in the 1920s, and obviously this is a re-edition to commemorate the anniversary of Cartier. The watch itself is listed, it's estimated to go between 15 and 25,000 Swiss francs. I think it's going to beat that. I think, being that it's a limited edition and a jumping hours complication, which has been extremely popular among collectors, I think this might do very, very well. What a lot to kind of start off the video with. The next watch I wanted to talk about was an extremely beautiful Audemars Piguet Royal Oak from 1975. This is the reference 5402. This is, on the surface, a fairly simple stainless steel Audemars Piguet Royal Oak, but what I really loved about this watch are two things. The first thing is the dial. It has a really beautiful tropical brown dial that looks absolutely incredible and is like the definition of vintage watch collecting. The other thing that's really unique about this watch is that this reference, there was a transitional period where they went between reference numbers. And this was one of 100 watches that were made in a transitional period where the serial number is actually not engraved on the case back of the watch. Obviously, this has been verified by Audemars Piguet scholars and the manufacturer, and I think makes this watch even more unique. Right now it's listed to go between 40 and 60,000 Swiss francs. I think it's going to beat it. The fact that it's one of about 100 in that transitional kind of lineup of watches, and the fact that it has this really kind of chocolatey dial, I think is going to make it fetch for more. Moving forward, we'll go to lot number 32. Lot number 32 is arguably one of the most important lots in this auction, in my opinion, and that is Patek Philippe Reference 5004. This is a stainless steel perpetual calendar split-second chronograph with moon phase. This is like the grail of grails, or what a lot of Patek Philippe, or people who collect complicated Patek Philippes, really look to collect. This was manufactured in 2012 and obviously is an extremely desirable reference by those around them. The watch itself is listed to go between 200 and 400,000 Swiss francs, but what's interesting about this lot is that it's offered without a reserve price, which means it can go for whatever price really you can think of. So it is pretty exciting to see what this lot ends up going for. The next watch I wanted to talk about was another Patek Philippe. This is a reference 2523. This is probably one of the most rare watches in the entire auction. And this watch is a 2523. It's a yellow gold world time watch manufactured in 1953. The watch itself is 36 millimeters in diameter and obviously has an extremely beautiful cloisonné enamel dial. The dial itself is of Eurasia, so it actually has parts of Europe as well as Asia on the dial of this watch. This is the 2523 is one of the most rare Patek Philippe references ever, and this is actually one of the first 2523s ever produced. So you're getting extreme rarity, extreme beauty in this watch as well. It's very difficult to find these. Interestingly enough, when the 2523 was released, they didn't actually do very, very well. And so they tried to iterate a lot with them. There are a couple dial variations. They have a North America version of the cloisonné enamel dial. They have a South America version, and then obviously the Eurasia. This is nicknamed the Silk Road because it has everything from Europe all the way through to Asia. It was previously unknown that this was around. First time it's hit the auction market, I believe, and so you're getting an extremely really beautiful and extremely rare watch in this lot. The estimate is in excess of 3.5 million Swiss francs because of its rarity and beauty. I think it's going to go for much more, but we'll have to see what happens with that one. One of my favorite lots for sure. We'll move on to lot number 70. And this is a really, really beautiful, one of my favorite watches at this auction as well. This is a Patek Philippe reference 5950R. This is a rose gold split-second chronograph with a pink dial. This is one of 15 5950s that were produced. This was produced in 2016 and comes with all the, everything that you can possibly think of. Patek Philippe is known for making extremely beautiful chronographs and extremely well-functioning chronographs, and this 5950 is no exception to that. I think because of its rarity, it's going to go for an extremely large price. It's estimated to go between 200 and 400,000 Swiss francs. I think it'll probably hit somewhere within that. But I think that limited edition, the fact that it's only one of 15, might make it go for a little bit more. I believe this is number 5. I might be wrong with that. But it has everything you would want. The brigade numbers that are really beautiful. You have 2 incredibly beautiful chronograph hands and really beautiful hour hands. It's applied hour markers. It's literally the definition of beauty in my opinion. And so after lot 70, we will move on to lot number 78. This is a watch that I'm actually pretty curious to see how this one does. This is a Rolex Reference 6262 chronograph with the Paul Newman Musketeer dial. This is, on the surface, it's a stainless steel chronograph from Rolex, obviously a Paul Newman Daytona that is extremely desirable within collecting. What I'm really excited about this lot is, the reason why I'm excited about this lot is because I think, post-pandemic, a lot of the times you think that maybe markets reset and you think that maybe there isn't really a pulse on what the prices of these references should really be. But what's really cool is there's a lot of Daytonas during this auction, so I think this watch is actually going to tell us as a vintage watch community how people are valuing Paul Newman Daytonas now. So it's estimated to go between 100 and 150,000 Swiss francs. We'll have to see what that ends up going for. Like I said, there are some modern watches, and we've discussed some here. The next lot I wanted to talk about was a Laurent Ferrier that was produced in 2017. This is a dual time with date watch. It has an incredibly beautiful enamel dial with a map of the world in this beautiful blue and white kind of texture to it. Laurent Ferrier is obviously an extremely desirable watch maker. I think anyone who can get their hands on this they're extremely happy with this. It's a limited edition in pink gold. I'm not sure how many of these were produced. I can quickly see if I can find that. But a limited edition Laurent Ferrier that's obviously going to be fairly desirable by those who are looking to get this watch. The watch is estimated to go between 25 and 45,000 Swiss francs, and so we'll have to see what ends up happening with that. We'll go on to lot number 98. This is a Patek Philippe Reference 3448. This watch I am super excited about because this is a yellow gold perpetual calendar nicknamed Parallone from Patek Philippe with moon phase. This watch was retailed by Gublin, and so you have the Gublin double-signed dial on this watch. You have Patek Philippe towards 12 o'clock, and then Gublin in the sub-seconds, or in the little sub-dial where the date and the moon phase is located. What I really love about this watch is there's some oxidation on the right side of the dial, and I think that's going to really tickle some collectors' fancy and some people perhaps not. I really love this type of collecting because I think it really tells that this watch had a different story than any other 3448. It's estimated to go between 120 and 200,000 Swiss francs. I think it's going to go for more. I think this unique looking case is going to make it a little bit more desirable to vintage watch collectors. It certainly makes it more desirable to me. I'd rather have this 3448 than a different one, but I'm really curious about this one. There was another chronograph that had a similar finishing to it. Had a similar oxidation to it, so that's also a lot that I'm going to be looking at. I think it was literally the next lot after this one. Moving forward, there is an Opus 1. Harry Winston and F.B. Journe created an Opus 1 in 2001 with an incredible blue dial and a massive tourbillon cage at 9 o'clock. I'm really excited to see how this one does. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of MB&F, and when Max Boozer was at Harry Winston, he did things where he collaborated with watchmakers like F.B. Journe, and this is no exception. I'm really excited to see how this one does. It's estimated to go between 150 and 300,000 Swiss francs. We'll have to see what that ends up going for. I'd say it's probably within range, but you don't see a lot of Opus 1s available for sale, especially with this massive tourbillon. The case itself is in platinum, so you're really getting you're getting the best of the best, in my opinion, in this Opus 1. I think only 10 of these were produced, so a very limited quantity, and I think it's another kind of brainchild of Max Boozer. Excuse me. There was only 6 of this tourbillon that were produced, so pretty exciting to see what ends up happening with that lot, especially because it's a fairly, it's a rare and sort of a modern watch. Moving on to the penultimate lot that I'm going to be discussing today, we're going to be looking at lot number 161. This is a grail of a grail when it comes to Patek Philippe. This is a reference 2499. It's a yellow gold perpetual calendar chronograph with moon phase. What's really exciting about this watch is that it has an Italian calendar, so the month and the day of the week are in Italian. It was manufactured in 1953. And like I said, is an absolute grail when it comes to watch collecting. The case itself, I also really noticed that it's in incredible condition, as with any watch that really Phillips auctions off. It's estimated to go between 1 million and 2 million Swiss francs. Undoubtedly, it will fetch between there, maybe even more. The 2499 obviously is one of those perpetual calendar chronographs that a lot of people are looking for. The other reference that other people look for is that reference 1518, which is pretty desirable, and this 2499 is very, very similar to that. So excited to see how that one does. And then I don't think I could close out a video without looking at lot number 226. This is a watch dear to my heart, and that's the MB&F LM101 made for Hodinkee. This is an LM101 at its core. It doesn't have many design changes as any limited edition would have. But this watch, it was made for Hodinkee and in collaboration with Hodinkee, and so this watch is a stainless steel cased watch, and it has a really interesting chocolate brown dial. There were only 10 of these that were produced here, so it's a limited edition MB&F LM101, and whenever one of these hits the auction block, I'm always excited to see what types of results it fetches. This watch is listed for between 20 and 40,000 Swiss francs. I'm curious to see what this one goes for. Yes, it's stainless steel. Yes, it's an LM101, so it's a little bit smaller than the typical MB&F, but we'll have to see what this one goes for, because I think it might go for more than 40,000 Swiss francs. But always exciting to see an MB&F hit the auction block. Comes box, papers complete, so another modern watch that I'm excited to see the results for as we take a look at this. Be sure to check out our article where we have links to every single one of these lots. I'll see if I can put it in the link all these links in the description of this video, but if not, be sure to check out our article on our website. If you are new to this channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. If you are new, and you can check out some of our other videos where we talk about watches. I'm just a watch enthusiast who loves talking about watches. So we've discussed in most recent weeks, we've talked about the watches and wonders watches that were released over the last couple weeks. So be sure to check out that as well. Let me know in the comment section below which one of these is your favorite lot, and also if you're going to be watching this Geneva Watch auction on May 8th and 9th, be sure to tune in. I'll put a link in the article and the description to both of those, to the Geneva Watch auction, so you can watch along. And if you wouldn't mind hitting that like button for us, it really does help us out and gets these videos to more people who are interested in vintage watches or watches in general. And with this said, guys, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.